AI stocks. Everyone's talking about them, right? But how do you actually pick a winner in this market? It's like trying to pick a winning horse, but instead of horses, it's algorithms and data centers. Well, today's deep dive is all about cutting through the noise. You've been doing your research on two big names, Palantir and UiPath, and we're here to help you make sense of it all.
And it's a good pair to look at because they both touch on AI, but in such different ways. I mean, that's what makes this comparison so interesting, right? We're not just looking at what these companies do, but what their future holds.
Okay, so let's dive right in. First up, Palantir. They're like the CIA of the tech world, yeah. Founded after 9/11, working with governments, all about using data to, make those big decisions.
They've definitely got that whole mystique factor going on. Yeah, their Gotham platform analyzes huge, complex data sets. It's all about helping governments and now even businesses make smarter decisions.
And they're doing something right, because I was going through the Motley Fool article you sent, and they're actually turning a profit, which isn't always a given with these younger tech companies.
Right, and that's a big deal for investors. Seeing that shift to profitability, it's a really strong signal. Actually, it's a big part of why they were recently added to the S&P 500,
Which for anyone listening who doesn't spend their days buried in the stock market, it's a big deal, right?
Huge. It's like a stamp of approval from the market saying, hey, this company's stable, it's got potential, you should pay attention, and that attracts a whole new wave of investors.
So Palantir, they're profitable, they're in the S&P 500. Mm-hmm. Sounds like they're doing pretty well for themselves. But now let's talk UiPath. They're all about automation, right? But seriously, next level automation, this whole robotic process automation thing. RPA, as they call it.
Yeah, RPA. It sounds like something out of science fiction, but it's really about making our work lives a little easier. Think of software robots doing those repetitive, tedious tasks that we all hate. Like imagine if a robot could do your data entry for you. Or process invoices. Answer those basic customer service emails. That's UiPath's bread and butter.
So Palantir's out there helping governments. Who knows? Maybe they found bin Laden. Who knows? I'm kidding. And UiPath is making our workdays a little less soul-crushing. I like it. But the article did mention UiPath been facing some challenges lately. They blame it on the economy, tougher competition. But is that the whole story?
Well, the economy and competition are definitely factors. But the article hints at something else that's really interesting, generative AI. And that's where things get really interesting.
Okay, so generative AI.
Okay.
For those of us who aren't coding wizards, what is it? And what does it have to do with UiPath? Generative AI. It's everywhere I look these days. But I'll be honest, I'm still trying to wrap my head around it. What does it even do? And how does it connect to the challenges UiPath is facing?
Yeah, it's one of those things that's easy to misunderstand,
Yeah.
But generative AI, it's not just hype. It's actually pretty amazing. Basically, it's software that can create new stuff. And I'm not just talking about rearranging data. I mean actually creating text, images, even code, all without being specifically programmed for each thing.
Okay, now that is pretty wild. But how does that impact a company like UiPath, which is already all about automation? Wouldn't this generative AI be a good thing for them?
You'd think so, right? But here's the catch. Generative AI might actually become a competitor to UiPath, at least in some areas. You see, UiPath is great at automating those really structured, rule-based tasks. Things you can program step by step. But generative AI can handle some of that too.
Hold on, I'm trying to connect the dots here. So you're saying...
Let's say UiPath helps you automate data extraction from invoices. Generative AI, it might be able to just look at the invoice, understand it like a human would, and pull out the information without all those pre-programmed steps.
Oh, I see what you're getting at. So it's not just about automating anymore. It's about which technology can automate better, faster. And UiPath might be falling behind in this new world of AI.
Exactly. And that's something the Motley Fool article highlighted. UiPath's recent slowdown, the CEO leaving. It could be a sign they're having trouble adapting to this new AI landscape.
Wow. So it's like investing in AI isn't just about looking at today's numbers. It's about trying to predict how these companies will handle all these changes. So where does that leave us with our two contenders, Palantir and UiPath?
Well, if you're looking at pure performance right now, Palantir is killing it. They're making money, they're solid in the government world, and they're even moving into the business world pretty successfully.
Good.
And this is important for investors. Their stock price reflects all that. It's high.
Yeah.
And that means if their growth doesn't meet those sky-high expectations, well, it's a bigger risk.
High risk, high reward, the age-old dilemma. So Palantir is looking a little pricey, even though they're doing well. What about UiPath? They're facing some serious competition, but I'm guessing they're more affordable, right?
Right now, yeah, they are. Which can be tempting. But the question is, can they innovate fast enough? Can they keep up with this generative AI revolution? That's what potential investors need to be thinking about.
So it's like choosing between the exciting, potentially volatile stock and the more stable, but maybe less glamorous option. You've definitely given us a lot to chew on when it comes to these two companies. But you said something earlier that really got me thinking, this whole impact of generative AI on jobs in general. It's been fascinating to dig into Palantir and UiPath as investments, but I keep thinking about something you said earlier about the potential impact of generative AI on the job market. I mean, the article barely scratched the surface there, but could UiPath struggles be like a warning sign?
It's definitely something to consider. I mean, we're still figuring out generative AI, right? But there's no denying it can automate things that used to be done by people.
And that makes me wonder if a company like UiPath, which is all about automation, if they're already feeling the heat from this new AI, what does that mean for everyone else?
Yeah, it's a valid concern. Generative AI, it's got incredible potential, don't get me wrong. But we have to be realistic about the disruption it could cause, especially in the workforce.
It's like maybe we need to hit pause on all the AI hype for a second and think about how to prepare for a future where some jobs, maybe a lot of jobs, are automated. That's probably a whole other deep dive right there.
Absolutely. It's a huge, complex issue. But for today, I think the main takeaway is that generative AI just throws another wrench into the gears when you're looking at companies like UiPath. It's another layer of uncertainty.
Okay, so let's do a quick recap of what we've learned about these two companies. Palantir, on a roll, profitable, part of the S&P 500, but you're going to pay a premium for that stock.
Right.
UiPath, on the other hand, more affordable, but their future is a bit of a question mark with this whole generative AI thing looming over them.
Exactly. Risk versus reward, right. But with this added layer of like, how are these big tech trends going to shake things up? It's not simple.
So for anyone listening who's trying to make sense of AI investments, it's obvious. It's not just about the numbers. It's about understanding the whole picture. Right? And part of that picture is how this tech is going to impact workers. That's something we all need to be thinking about, whether we're investors or not.
Couldn't agree more. Exciting time to be following AI, but it's not without its challenges. For investors, for sure, but for society as a whole.
Well said. And that's all the time we have for today's deep dive into AI stocks and this whole generative AI revolution. Hopefully this has given everyone a lot to think about. And until next time, remember, the future of AI, we're all shaping it. One decision, one investment, and an important conversation at a time.